Hello everyone, welcome to my channel once again. It's been such a long time and you might have been wondering what happened, where did I go, and the truth is I've been trying to balance life with career and with family and with other engagements, and it's just been a bit of a challenge for me, and it's great to be back, and I hope you guys are well. So in this video I'm going to be speaking about IDE, how to develop your first application using an IDE. And you might have been wondering, what is an IDE? I would actually encourage you to go watch my last video, because in there I spoke about what an IDE is. So in this video I'm going to be focusing more on Visual Studio Code, which is actually an IDE that you can use to develop your software applications. So you can see here, basically on this website you can actually download the different versions of Visual Studio Code based on the operating system that you've got, and be able to start your development. So we've got Mac OS, we've got Windows, we've got Linux. So whatever operating system you're using, you can always get that version of the software on here and actually start your development. So, and on top of this, what I'm going to show you in this video as well is how you can actually just develop a simple .NET application. And this is going to be quick. And you might be wondering, what is .NET? So .NET is actually an open source developer platform. This is something that you can use to develop different types of applications, be it desktop applications, be it web applications, be it mobile applications. Just think about it. You can do even games, IoT, whatever you want to develop, you can with .NET. So in this I'm going to be showing you how we can just set up a simple .NET Core application and just debug it and troubleshoot it, and actually just use the IDE and see how how this actually it's been used for developing applications. And so I will show you what it looks like. So once you've actually downloaded Visual Studio Code on your computer and you've actually installed it, you should see something that looks like this. So basically this is what it looks like. It's like basically it's got just basic stuff, which is basically you can actually open a folder from here if you want to. So from my previous videos you can see that we've worked on some files. So in here you can see we worked on HTML, we worked on CSS, we worked on JavaScript. So basically this is actually a much more solid structure when you actually trying to develop, because if you compare this to the Notepad++ I actually showed you guys, you can see that it's a little bit of there's a little bit of a difference, because here there are different folder structures here, of which Notepad++ doesn't give you, and it's actually a little bit difficult on Notepad++ to actually navigate to different files. Let's say you have like thousands of files in here, it's gonna be a little bit of a challenge to actually know, okay, where are you, what do you want to do. But with Visual Studio Code you can see it is much more easier for you to know where you are, and it tells you, okay, you're on style.css and you actually on script.gss. but just know that this is where you're gonna be doing most of your development. Like basically if you're actually gonna be developing web applications, desktop applications or mobile applications, like in most cases you're gonna be using an IDE for that. And there are different types of IDE out there. We've got Rider, we've got Visual Studio, and this is actually Visual Studio Code. So we've got different types. We've got PyCharm for Python. We've got different types. There's a lot of different IDEs you can use. So don't think this is just the only one you have to use. No, this is just one of it. And in this actual video, I just want to show you how you can set up a simple .NET application and debug it and troubleshoot it and see your application come alive. So let's just go straight into it. Basically I have a folder here called IDE that I've actually just created, and you can call yours anything you want to call it, and you can see it's really blank. And basically what I want to do is I want to just scaffold a new .NET Core application in here. And one of the things you should bear in mind is that you need a .NET SDK to get this to happen. if you don't have the SDK on your computer, then if you do like .NET and this command, you won't see anything here. And if you don't see anything, that means you don't have any SDK on your machine. And what you want to do is you want to go onto your browser and actually go onto this link where it actually have all the SDKs listed. And the recommended one to actually develop your .NET application is actually this one, which is 5.0. And in here, all you need to do is just install whatever version that is applicable to you on this list. On mine is just me using the 64 one, but basically I have it installed already. I've got 5.0.301 installed on my computer, and on top of that I also have other versions that I have. But for you to be able to know which specific one that you're currently running, then you just have to use .NET -- version, and that tells you which version you're currently running. So now I'm currently running 5.0.301, and that is the it's fine for me for this actual demo. And all I need to do now is I want to scaffold a simple application that I want to just just basic application. So I use this simple command, which is .NET, and then I want to say new because this is a new application. Then I say MVC because that's the type of application I want to to scaffold, and then I use auth. Auth is actually an authentication. Say what kind of authentication do you want this application to have, and then you can actually say I want it to have individual. So all this I can actually show you in another video. The main focus here is just for how you can use an IDE to start developing applications. And you can see here that it just created different files and different folders for me, which is quite amazing, right? You can be wondering like, wow, like this is just a lot now, like what is going on here? But basically this is actually the boilerplate. This is actually what helps you to also speed up your development, because this is actually like a application on its own. Like basically I'm going to run this and you can see what it actually looks like without even writing any other code, because the only thing I just did was run a command there. I've got all this appearing on in my folder. And if you also go into your folder, you can see those actual folders and files are actually being created, which is quite awesome. Like, don't you think? And you can see here that basically you have a structure here. So controller, you've got your views, which is mostly your actual views, what your end users see. Yeah, you can see like it's got some text here, and I'm going to show you what it looks like on the browser. So you might be wondering now, so what's the next step? How do I run this? So you can see here there's an option here to say run, start debug, and then you'll be wondering like, okay, what do I choose from this list? So for you to run a .NET Core application on Visual Studio Code, you need an extension called C#. So this C# plugin actually enables you to be able to run a .NET Core application. So it helps you to run it, it compiles the code for you and helps you to be able to present it on the browser. So if I just need to install this, so let's just install that. That will be quick. And also, as on top of this, they might just request you to select the theme you want to use. I'll just prefer to use the dark theme. So you can also change it by just click on here and select the other one if you want to. But basically, this is what it looks like. You can see that it has been installed. It's enabled globally. And all I need to do is to just go back to run and say start debug. And you can see there that there are two more options given to me. So that means I can run Blazor WebAssembly and I can run .NET Core. But for this application, I've got .NET Core, so I'm just gonna click on .NET Core, and then we just have to click on, so we just have to run it again, and then you can see there it's starting up, it's doing something. And all it's doing for you at this moment is getting all the packages, and making sure that it's packaging all your applications and making sure it's ready. What do you see? This is actually amazing. Like, I've got an home page. This is my home page which says welcome, learn, and then you see there's a privacy where you can put your privacy policy, and you can even as part of the auth option I chose, now I'm saying that my users can actually use their email password and to register, and they can use that to log in into this application. So this is actually very, very amazing. Like, it's quick, it's very, very straightforward, and as you can see there, it's actually something that makes you just develop quite quickly. And let's go back to this. I just want to stop this and just make some few changes here so you can see, you know, what I mean by when I say debug and all that. So let's say, for instance, I have a variable called model, right? And this model is actually a type of a string. Let's just say hello me, or hello world. Let's use hello world this time. And then what I want to do is I want to run it again. And if I run it again, and the shortcut to actually running this is F5. So if you click on F5, it's gonna run this in debug mode. As you can see there, it's up again. So let's say, for instance, I'm just gonna have to do this, splitting my screen so we can see what is going on here. Let's do that, and then I'm just gonna click on that. You can see that red thing there. That thing means that it's a breakpoint. What breakpoint means is when I run an application, I want you to stop at that point. So let's just refresh this and see what happens. What do you see? You can see that is highlighted. This tells you that now this actual application has actually stopped here. And it's letting you now, you know, check what is going on with that variable. As you can see here, the variable section tells you what are the local, you know, locals that we've got. So in here, you can see that I've got model, and then you can see that that model is actually it's null, which means that it's actually empty. It has nothing in it. It's actually nothing. But if I step over it, so how do you step over it? Like, you can use all these controls there, which is step over is F10. So you can use your short key, which is F10, or you can use F11 to actually step into it. Let's say, for instance, you have an object that you want to step into, then definitely you can use F11, or you can step out of an object. So basically, for this specific one, or object or method, actually, not really only a method. If you want to step into a method, or you want to step into step into a method, you can actually use F11 or step out of that method. So basically, you can see there that we've got that breakpoint there. If I step over it, you can see now that if you check, can you see that basically that model was updated to hello world? This is how you troubleshoot to know when something is wrong with your application. So for you know, you can see there that this is hello world. So basically, this is very exciting. You can easily start developing and knowing, okay, when my site runs, it actually calls this action or this method called index, and then in there I've set a variable here, and then it returns back a view. And you might be wondering, where's this view? So this view is actually in here. Under home, you can see there's an index, which is this view that we actually see. If I run it again, you can see what I mean. I'll just quickly run it again. You can see, like, just to show you what it is. So you can see so let's just remove this breakpoint so it can actually just continue. Then you can see there, welcome, learn about building web apps with .NET, ASP.NET Core. You can go into the view, and actually you can see that it's exactly the same thing. So if I come in here and say, welcome code with Femi, right? Save that, and then let's refresh this. We just have to like refresh our application on Visual Studio Code. And what do you get here when you do a refresh here? Welcome code with Femi. So basically, this actually enables you to be able to see, you know, what is going on in your code, and you can be able to troubleshoot it and you know, and try as much as possible to make sure you know where the problem is. I'm just gonna do just one last example, which is I'm gonna create a new file and call this home view model.cs, right? This is actually, so CS means it's a C# file, which means that you can write C# language in this file. So this is actually an example. I'm just going to copy that namespace because I want it to be the same namespace, and then I just want to put in some properties in here. But before I do that, I just want to create a class, which is a class for my model. I'll call this same as the file name, which is home view model. And then in here, I just want to make sure that I have some properties. So in here, I'm just going to have title, and then I'm going to have description. Okay, So this is a model. This is a simple model. This is actually just a simple model. I don't want to go, it's not about the code here. It's about the actual the IDE itself. So I'm just going to instantiate that actual model, and then I will just say for this model dot title, I want to say welcome YouTube viewers, right? And then I want to do exactly the same thing for my description, to say description, and then I will just say let's just remove that and say I love you guys, right? And the next thing I want to do is I want to pass that model into my view, because now I want to like do some amazing stuff here in my view with that actual model. So in here in my view, I can basically say add model. Then I want to use that same namespace that I was using, which is IDE dot models. You can see there dot, then I want to use that model. So this tells me now that I've injected that actual model into this actual makes it even much more fun for me. So yeah, I can actually just say add model dot title, and you can pay attention there that there's a capital letter M there and there's a small letter M there. So just pay attention to those two when you're writing like your MVC applications using ESP.NET Core. So we can see there that I can just put my description there. This tells me now that I've made this actual page dynamic. I can always maybe fetch this information even from a database, even maybe connecting to another external service somewhere, and actually get those data in. Like let's say you want to develop a price feed or something, you can also do all that. So the options are limitless. But the thing is, let's run this and you can see what is going on now. Like since I've actually made some changes to this, right? As you can see there, can you see welcome YouTube viewers, and then I love you guys. So basically I've been able to make some changes here. And one of the things I also want to point out is there are cases where you might want to use a watch. So watch is most likely when you want to add some field or some property or some object here, and to be able to see what is happening with that object. And I'll give you an example. So let's put a breakpoint here. And then let's actually go back and just refresh that page and see what happens. Okay, let's refresh this page. As you can see here, I've got in my local, I've got model. Model actually tells me that I have a description in it, right? And I have a title in it. So this is actually an object, and you can see that I love you guys, welcome YouTube viewers. So basically now like there are cases where you might just want to go as far as saying, no, I just want to like, it might not reflect here. You just want to come in here to say add a watch, and basically I just want to add model. And what does that do for me? It adds that same thing here. So this actually gives you much more flexibility as to you checking what is going on in your code, as to what you're trying to check and try to troubleshoot. But this is how you actually develop your applications. It makes life easier for you. You can easily run it, you can see where there's a problem, and you can actually be able to even fix it. So let's say for instance now there is actually a problem with your application. Let's say for instance I'm trying to do something like this. Let's say I do something like this. Okay, let's say this is home view model, right? And then I try to run this. Let's see what is going to happen in this point. You can see there that our application is not even running, like it actually stopped there. And this is actually one of the things that also debugging helps with, because actually it's raising an exception there, because it's telling us that there is actually a problem, because this actual object is actually null. And for that you can't actually have you can't make a reference on a null object. So that is just one of the things that you have to bear in mind, because sometimes you start up your application and for some reason it's not starting up. Like the IDE helps you to tell you where the problem is. It gives you more information as to where the issue is, and you can be able to really fix it. So to fix this, we just have to go back and say I need to instantiate view model. So like I said, this is not about the code, this is just about the IDE and how to be able to know what is going on in your code. IDEs is that you can also like check the call stacks and see what is happening with your different threads, see what is happening with all those things can actually help. You can also even say you want a breakpoint in all exception. You can actually make sure that unhandled exceptions are actually being, so exceptions are like errors that is happening within your code. When when something when an error happens, you want to erase an exception to say there's something going on here. And basically you can always make sure that you have that checked, and then you'll be able to see when there's a problem with your application, and then you can fix it. But this is where we we develop things. This is where we write applications that is gonna be deployed to a different environment, or like these websites that you see, these different websites that you see are actually like they went through this process as well, in a way that they were being developed on an IDE before they became what it is. So that is actually it. Please don't forget to make comments. Let me know what you want me to talk about. Also help me as well in terms of improving. If you feel like there's something I'm not saying right, just let me know. I really want to make sure that I give you guys the best that would add value to you guys out there. And I hope to see you in my next video. Don't forget to like, to subscribe, to share with your friends, and keep well. Cheers.